Hello and welcome to the Lowdown, the official show for Download Festival 2013, right here on Scuzz TV. I'm Bees, and on this week's edition, I'll be chatting to young guns who we must applaud for their huge success over in the States at the moment, hitting #1 on the charts with their WWE anthem Bones. Well in, lads. Plus, we've got him on the show talking about all things download and answering your questions. And of course, we've got requests, shout-outs, music videos from bands on this year's lineup. What would Bruce do? What would Bruce do? Yep, double the pleasure, triple the fun. Twice, you get 2 impersonations for the price of 1. Your chance to win download tickets in the Download's Big Ten, where we asked this week, if you could make Rammstein a packed lunch for download, what would you put in it? Crazy, crazy answers, so look forward to that. Right, time is ticking away. Download is just around the corner, kicking off June the 14th to the 16th. Have you got your tickets yet? You don't want to be sat at home watching Jeremy Kyle while all your mates go and postal to Slipknot, Maiden, Rammstein, all the good stuff. Get over to downloadfestival.co.uk for your tickets, and don't forget that day tickets are also available now. Right, let's blow your roof off from the get-go. Turn your TV up. Louder. Louder. Louder! That's about right. 5-finger death punch, never enough. Right, that was 5-Finger Death Punch. We'll be smashing it on the main stage on the Sunday of this year's Download Festival. We're going to keep the momentum going with a rager from Sweden. This is the Hives off their Ace Veni Vidi Vicious album, way back in 2000. That song's 13 years old. Christ. Main offender, the Hives. Let's do it. We'll be right back after the break with him and the Download's Big Ten, where you get the chance to win a pair of download tickets. Don't go anywhere. You do know changing the channel from Scuzz does in fact make the chances of rain at download a little bit greater. True fact, science said so. See you in 4. Welcome back to the Lowdown, the official Download TV show with me, Bees. Now, you know we always have killer guests, and this week is no exception. It's only him and him from him with me. Him. Yeah. Bees, no, we're off to a flyer. The Lowdown with Vila and Megan from him. So, when you get the touring schedule, is Download something that you still look forward to?
Obviously.
Yeah, does it still hold that same feeling as when, I mean, presumably Donington would have been when you start touring as a band?
That's what we read about it when we was kids, you know, checking all the, read all the crazy stories and wished that one day we'd be able to play, half of the amount of people or something like that. But we had a great time last time. We hung out with Tony Iommi in the backstage area and had a few drinks or whatever, and was telling him some more stories and all that. So
really?
It was great.
Anything you can say on camera?
Well, no. Let's be a gentleman about it.
Yeah,
it wasn't anything nasty or anything like that, but
there
was obviously personal stuff involved and all that, so we don't want to get sued.
Fair.
And especially by our idol.
And do you remember that first time that you played Donington?
Oh, there was one where we woke up from the bus. I can't remember where we came from. We played I think the tent, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
It was super hot. I love those tents though during festivals, because it doesn't matter what time you're playing, and you still get all the light show working. At times, for bands like us, it works in our advantage. It's not only because our ugliness, but for the mood of the music.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not quite sure what's going to happen this year.
You rarely have to worry about bright sunshine in the UK as well, even if you were outside.
Well, true. But still, it was a special. It creates a more like a club-like feel, and it's more sweaty, obviously, so. What we like.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's headlining the third stage, as you're going to be doing this year. Is it something that you look forward to more than just having your hour or 45 minutes in the daytime, because you get to play a wider breadth of what you're about?
Well, for me, to be honest with you, the fact that we can be doing anything at that festival is great. And then, that's about it.
Yeah, it's like, choosing between like cotton candy or
or cotton candy.
yeah, or different colors.
Yeah, it's just it's an honor, and then the fact that we've been there several years, it's nice to be invited to come back again. And now since we have a new album too, which is pretty heavy and rocking, so we'll see how that's going to.
Is this the most exciting time when you've got this record finished and being ready to throw into situations like this.
And at the same time, it's really nervous time.
Oh, really?
So, well, it hasn't started yet. You know, the album's not out of print yet, and we want to make sure that everything's looking the way it's supposed to, and then we need to go back to the rehearsal place and start working on the track of trying to figure out who likes what songs and which are going to work live. And so there's a lot of excitement, a lot of work still to be involved, you know, before the whole thing starts. And then the first gig, you know, is going to be the one. And
if it's going to rain mud or cotton candy or whatever people choose to throw at you. So, you know, it's exciting.
Is it fun to be doing the Dingwalls show and that kind of thing to kind of iron out that material, because you don't want to be going head first, like Tears on Tape material, head first into things like Download?
Well, then at the end of the day, at a festival, there's going to be a lot of people who are not necessarily so very well versed in what we do. You know, there's all sorts of people, and then at a gig like Dingwalls, it's like the hardcorest of the hardcore fans, you know, more or less. So it's going to be a different atmosphere, definitely. But it makes it a challenge as well for festivals, because obviously they're trying to win people over by being who you are. So you just have to, you know, be the best of you can, you know, so to speak.
Okay, right, stick around for more from the Lowdown. More from him later in the show, when they'll be back to answer your questions. Remember to check the Scuzz Facebook page to submit your questions. Only the best ones will make it onto the Lowdown, so make them good. Yarp. Right, time for me to play Willy Wonka, except I don't have any chocolate. What I do have are 2 golden tickets to the hottest festival in town. That's right, it's a Download's Big Ten. This week, we asked if you could make Rammstein a packed lunch for Download, what would you put in it? 10 great answers, but only one can win a pair of tickets to this year's Download Festival. Let's go. Number 10, Lewis Bryan says Mine Lamb, like that. 9, Brady Deep Rose says a Coca-Cola in a Wonder Bra. 8, Tad Gray says some Jamstein sandwiches. You should be ashamed of yourself, Tad. Number 7, Kyle Braham says a note saying, I'm not your mother, make your own lunch. Number 6, Rebecca White says bang bang chicken sandwich, bang bang. Number 5, Jack Hill says spotted on a dick and some Sona D orange juice, love that. Number 4, Debbie Lockhart says a peanut mutter sandwich, hey. Number 3, Dennis Lopez says high fish and chips. Number 2, Ben Fowler says women and a chicken each. That made us laugh for a good solid minute in the office earlier. Number 1, winning a pair of tickets to this year's Download Festival, Dave Bramley says mine ham with fire fries. Congratulations, Dave, you're going to Download Festival. That's it for Pop 2. Come, you always get me doing foreign languages, I'm rubbish at them. Still to come, him answer your questions, I chat to Young Guns, plus what would Bruce do, and of course your shout outs and requests. See you in 3 minutes, 20 seconds-ish. Welcome back to Lowdown, the official Download Festival TV show right here on Scuzz TV. I'm Bees and we got loads coming up. Him answer your fan questions, what would Bruce do, plus your requests and shout-outs. Right, now it's time for a little chat with those stateside conquerors in Young Guns. Lads. Welcome to the snuggest couch we've had on this series Lowdown. Young Guns, how's it going?
Good, thanks.
Very good,
nice and warm.
Back from America, how mental has it been?
Mental?
Really mental.
mental.
It's kind of too surreal to take on board, you know, having people so far away and in such a big country respond to our stuff they have has been.
What's
crazy.
the best bit of free you've got so far?
I think with South by we got this Sony gave us some nice headphones.
Oh yeah,
and
that really
like
cool,
little filming stuff which we got to use in the swimming pool. You can like
no way.
like
one of those
underwater
like pro
and
cameras, like you know that you stick
James
on
Bond.
Yeah, you go underwater and all that kind of stuff. So that was a good day of swag.
So we're going to tell your Download story because this is the first time we've had this happen. You've gone Red Bull stage, Pepsi Max stage, Zippo stage, main stage.
That's right.
So do you remember the first Download and how, were you nervy about the first Download or was it excitement?
I was bricking it. I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. It was our first festival show, I believe.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah, I think so. And so that was a real moment.
I remember
of
being really
significance
fun.
for us. It was really good fun.
Yeah.
We were we first on as well?
No, I think there's a few bands before us.
It was early in the afternoon.
It's quite early.
You know, we were so negative. We were always like, is there anyone going to be there? You know. and we went out there and the tent was pretty full and the crowd was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was our first kind of proper festival experience.
It's always, Download's always one of those festivals for us that we get so excited for because, like I said, we've kind of gone year to year, going higher and higher. But every year it's been great, and it's, you know, there's always great bands, and it's always such a great vibe. So.
Like mentioning the nerves beforehand, something I'm always keen to talk about is that like it's got Downloads kind of over time kind of got that less metal stigmatism over it because like the hallowed turf of Monsters of Rock and that.
Yeah, cool.
Was that one of the reasons that nerves came in those days? And have you felt that kind of thing like dying off over the years, especially being a band that's like on the lighter side of the rock world?
Well, I think you only need to look at the lineups now to see that obviously there's been a big shift, you know, and that's
when Chase and Status turned up, like the game changed.
That's the big deal, right? You know, and I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Prodigy, stuff like that.
Yeah, Pendulum.
You know, but I think that's cool. Well, exactly. Yeah, I think that's cool.
It makes the festival like more interesting as well.
Doesn't it?
I think it does. Yeah. I think it's just nice that, you know, alternative music is more about. It's more than about just how heavy a guitar is. You know, it's a state of mind, and I think you grow up listening to be a metal or rock or dance or whatever. It's just all about attitude, isn't it? And Download, I think the festival really kind of reflects that idea in all the bands that are on it.
Yeah. And what's the difference between a main stage and those tents? Because obviously, I mean, I've seen you do the main stage at Reading.
Yeah.
Like,
main stage was a lot more scary.
Yeah.
You kind of get on stage and you go, oh, there's a lot of people here. And you know, it feels, you know, such a big stage. And but we love sort of doing them both. Like the main stage is great because you're playing such a great big audience, and then the small, you know, the tents are great because the atmosphere is always exciting.
Energy, sweat, and you can see everyone's faces. You know?
It's nice to do both.
Yeah. It's definitely a bit of wish fulfillment in seeing, like, you know, tens of thousands of people in front of you. That I can't imagine that would ever get old.
More people to see you muck up if you do so.
Again, no pressure.
Exactly. Which we do all the time.
What's your best after hours story of Download? Because I've seen you.
I can't even remember.
Punk rock.
It was common theme.
First time we went there, we did the punk rock, didn't we? Which is where anytime anyone shouted punk rock backstage, you had to just run around flipping the tables.
No matter who was sitting there.
No matter who was sitting
there. Did anyone get busted?
Yeah, I'm actually amazed we came back.
Was it Download when Fraser and our other friend climbed one of the tents at backstage, and then
it might have been,
got chased by security,
and he got chased by a security guard. I remember our manager seeing like these footsteps over one of the tents, and someone go, "What was that?" And he went, "It's probably one of our, you know, my band." And then but the security were running after him, but the mud was so slushy that it was like slow motion running. They were basically walking after him, and Fraser's like, "I'm sorry." And it was we couldn't stop laughing. So yeah, we've had a few.
Trying to grab him.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And they still let us back, though. Yeah.
So more responsible now, or less responsible because there's more you can get away with?
More responsible in the day, less responsible at night.
Spot on. Yeah. Pick a video from the Bone Cycle.
From the Bone Cycle?
You or not?
Yeah, you or not. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Nice. Change pace. You or not. Stick around for more from the Lowdown. Right, nice one, young guns. Time for your fan questions now, the ones that you've sent in for him. Remember, head on over to the Scuzz Facebook page, addressed down here, to see who's in next to answer your questions. Make them good, they might just get answered. We like making dreams come true, don't we? Right, over to him. Welcome back to the Lowdown with him, answering your questions, no less. Bradley Sickers Evans is the first one. Who came up with the name His Infernal Majesty?
Oh, we were studying like the occult back in the day.
At the end of the day, I think it was Anton LaVey.
Yeah, probably.
I think it's like in the preface of a Satanic Bible or something. Something as stupid as that. You know, since we knew that Black Sabbath stole their name off of a horror film.
Right.
We wanted something horrific and demonic and crazy. And you know, that was we just opened up a book and that was it.
Yeah.
Were there any other alternatives at that time?
Yeah, there wasn't.
We were supposed to be calling ourselves Black Earth. Because, you know, Black Sabbath, and then they used to be called Earth before, so we thought that would be a great mixture, but I think somebody had used that name already.
Yeah, something like that.
You know, but picking a band name is, you know, it's the toughest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And then if you try to be too wordy or too clever, it's always going to bite you up and butt, you know.
Stuck with it for life as well.
Indeed. But then we just shortened it up at some point because it was just hard for a lot of people to pronounce and remember.
Right.
So it became a bit more, you know, symbolic.
Excellent. Right, Stephen King, presumably not the Stephen King. Asks, have you got any?
I really like Cujo.
Yeah, we appreciate your work.
Have you got any special plans for Download Festival?
Special plans, you know, maybe like we should have like a survival plan. I think, you know.
Indeed.
It's on several levels. But Yeah, I don't know.
Huh?
Oh, you mean why survival plan?
No, no.
If you leave home, always have a plan.
Oh, yeah, true.
Car, medicine, firearms.
Fair enough. I think the best plan is not to have too many plans because festivals in general are all about improvisation. You have to keep your ears and your eyes open because those are the places where you get to meet a lot of people you might have never seen. Oh, then people you haven't seen in years. You might find yourself in, some other places in the middle of the night. You never know. So that's the cool thing about it, not to make too many plans. And musically talking about the gig thing, we're not quite there yet. We're trying to figure it out. We're not sure how long the set is going to be, and we want to make sure that we get all the proper details.
Are you guys properly sociable then when it comes to backstage at festivals?
Well, depending. But,
what hour of the night it is?
Yeah, I don't think I'm emitting any kind of a social, butterflies.
Well, a bit of hermits, I think that Scandinavian people are, pretty quiet. But then again, it's depending who's there.
Right.
And obviously there's going to be a lot of friends who are not playing. They're, just visiting over, and as you know, the VIP 10 is a pretty entertaining spot to be.
It is.
It's like a war field, with all those people falling down and all that.
It is like the beginning scene of Saving Private Ryan by about midnight.
Yeah. Way better.
Tanya Jane Burnett asks, when was the last time you saw BAM?
That was a long time ago. That was when we played, it was on our previous tour. We toured our previous album, Screamworks, and that was it in Las Vegas?
I cannot remember.
Because that's when he hopped into a bus with some chicks in LA, and then he came to Vegas with us, and I think that he's probably still in Vegas. So it's been a while. He's been busy with his own stuff, and then he hasn't traveled to Europe, and hasn't been skating. I think he's been, behaving, doing this rock and roll thing. He's got that band and everything, so they were just in Australia and all. And he's a really tough guy to get a hold on.
Right.
He is always losing his phones. He probably doesn't know how to use an email. So it's always been a challenge.
We had quite a few questions as well about going to the US this time out. Is that a plan on this touring cycle?
In general?
Yes.
Yeah, well, the idea now is at the end of April we're playing a couple of gigs in Germany, doing the Dingwalls thing, then we're playing 8 gigs in the States.
Right.
The kind of like the bigger places, LA, New York, San Francisco, Chicago, then go to Canada, Toronto, then Philadelphia. I think that's it. And then the downloading thingy start, and then when the school starts, autumn, that's when the touring starts for us.
Excellent.
Our rock school.
Yeah, School of Life.
Yes, indeed.
And Erin Minnick asks, why did you decide to write and perform in English?
Well, maybe because the bands that we liked did it. We grew up with the music that was actually, performed in our English language, so probably because of that mainly. And of course, maybe we wanted to expand like a virus, across the borders. So, that's pretty much the only way to do it, I guess.
Yeah, there's not very many internationally well-known bands that sing in Finnish. And,
Very true.
Same with German. It's like Rammstein are probably the only one who've been able to spread their wings and fly.
Die Toten Hosen never got out of Germany.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Yeah.
So maybe for their holidays. But,
Joey Wilcock asks, how do you cope without smoking on stage in the UK?
Well, there's a little secret. We have the smoke machines, and they do have a tiny bit of nicotine in them. So that's the way to do it. No, not really.
Well, we're not sure if that's
I believe
perfectly
anything.
legal.
You see my gullible eyes light up there?
No. We at least in the previous tours we've had a couple of we played songs like, let's say, Sleepwalking Past Hope, which is like a 12-minute track, and it's got a real long instrumental bit. So I usually have the time to smoke one or two, but at the end of the day, it's better for the vocal cords not to smoke. And then I was non-smoking for a couple of years, and now I just picked up again. It's a bad habit, but I'll get there eventually.
Okay. Cindy Bannock asks, what's your favourite hymn video?
We've made so many. Well, let's say one that's kind of exciting was the Bam Margera directed one for Bird Lab I Love with Juliette Lewis in it, because that was our first video in the States, and it was like in Los Angeles and meeting a movie star. And
was it your biggest budget at that point as well?
No, it wasn't too expensive.
Right.
No, it wasn't, because it was done by friends for friends, so everything worked out super like do-it-yourself mode. So it was really good, but that was great times with love metal and all that stuff. And videos are so tough because it's like you know, you don't know, but you never know what you're gonna get. You know, you kind of like somebody writes like, you know, the band's gonna be in the dark forest, and then we're gonna CGI like tons of bats flying all around, and then you're gonna be underneath the ice and blah blah blah, and it only costs you $500,000. So let's go and do it. And then at the end of the day, what you get is like there's gonna be like the band is playing with cotton candy. So, you know, it's tough. It's always tough with videos. But now we're kind of happy now. Now we just shot a video for this Finnish guy called Stefan Lindfors, who did our video for Funeral of Hearts. He just directed Tears and Take Them Into the Night, 2 tracks, new tracks, and I think that those are pretty nice, you know, for what we've done. And we look pretty decent, you know.
Yeah, for you know. Yeah,
for our age.
Marks out of 10? For the looks, not the video.
I'm a 7.8.
Yeah. Eva asks, why did you use Malachim alphabet on the cover to Tears for Tape?
Well, that was no worries. There was Dampy Carter, who is a friend of ours. I asked him to come up with something. I didn't know that he was studying art back in the day, and he had done some record covers in the past and all that stuff. And we started talking about art in general, and then he showed me a couple of bits and bobs of his paintings whilst we were mixing the album in London. And then I got really excited and asked him if he wants to participate in the cover artwork. And it took a couple of weeks, and he'd done several pieces that are all included in the actual booklet. So to answer the question it was his call to use the Malachim. And you know, I love that pseudo-occult.
Yeah, I know angels can read it too.
Yeah, it's an old angelic language, so it was done for the angels. True. Which angels?
And final question. Ravenswart asked, could you suggest some good books to read?
I just finished something that was really good. Twilight Man by Boyd Rice is really good. I'm just reading it. Then I finished The London's Lost Artist, Austin Osmus Spare by, I think, Phil Baker. That's a really good biography on the artist Spare, who's a very intriguing character, or was a very intriguing character. Those are the last 2 ones I've been reading, so, and yeah.
Mega?
Yeah, Papillon.
Papillon.
By a French prisoner guy. It has great tips for, you know, like if you go to prison or a festival.
To a festival, or
download,
how
for
to save
example.
your money.
Right.
Yeah, if you don't want to lose your money, there is only one logical solution for it, which is, I don't know if I can say it on TV, but you know, everybody can read the book and find out.
There you go.
It's a great book. It really is a good book. You know,
Building the suspense
very
as well.
Yeah.
Right, thanks for your time. Let's play Funerals of Hearts. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Right, welcome back to the final part of the Lowdown. I did a thumbs up there, it's completely unnecessary. Earlier, we asked Bruce Dickinson if he'd rather have a meteoric rise and a painfully hard crash from fame or remain completely unknown for his entire life. You've had your say on Twitter, but here is what Bruce would actually do.
I want to have a meteoric rise and then remain completely unknown.
What would Bruce do? Of course you would, Bruce, of course you would. Right, more What Would Bruce Do next week. I can tell that you can't wait. And you can, of course, catch Iron Maiden killing it on the main stage on the Saturday night at this year's Download Festival. Right, it's the time where we hand the show over to you for your shout-outs and requests. Let's get on with it. Anwen Ellery Thomas wants to say hello to Dan and Jodie from North Wales. She's the crazy mother who took them to the Mosh Lives tour in Manchester on Saturday. I went to that in London. Chelsea Grin, big up. Oh, Obey the Brave as well. Nick McWhirter says, shout out to my homies, Pete, Diddy, Blair and Connor for keeping it real day in, day out. Where's that one from? Compton? Connor Hayden says, shout out to my mate Jack Taylor from Hull for having his baby. Well in, Jack. Dean Jawa Wilson says, big shout out to my soulmate Vicky, thanks for always being there. Oh, that's a nice one, we don't get many of them. And Eponin Ledgard wants to say to Alex, we bossed it at open mic, love you lots. And they want us to play A Day to Remember since you've been gone. Let's play A Day to Remember since you've been gone. Right, time for one more request. Joseph Gibson wants us to play Volbeat Fallen. Volbeat have got a new album out this week, so it'd be rude not to play it, wouldn't it? Stick around, my partner in crime, Mr. Alex Heron's been giggling all day after being rickrolled last week. I can only imagine what he's got planned for me. Volbeat Fallen, stick about. Right, that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us. Next week, we will chat to 30 Seconds to Mars, plus all the usual shenanigans. Remember, downloadfestival.co.uk. Get it in now. The festival is sure to sell out soon, so don't say we didn't warn you. There we go. Now, earlier in the show, I asked if you could make Rammstein a packed lunch for Download, what would you put in it? Well, I made one myself. I bloody didn't. Open packed lunch. Have I got to say it? Now that's what I call a tasty German sausage. Auf Wiedersehen. This gets worse every week. See you next week.